Hello everyone, it's Susan here, and I'm going to, I think, finish up this wreath for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery collaboration. Yeah, so in last Wednesday's video, I shared how I made the wreath. And then today I want to get the wreath on, and we're going to add a little bit of bling. And yeah, because I took some beads out, and I'm hoping that it'll work. I also took out some really shimmery gold eyelash trim. So I have a thought, and so we'll see. We will see how it goes. Now, all I'm doing at this point is I'm couching down the wreath. That's all I'm doing onto my fabric that I worked on last Monday. So to couch, you want something to basically stitch over. And you can decide how tight you want to actually pull it. So like once it's over, like I can leave it really loose, or I can tighten it to where it pulls that fabric tighter together. So I don't need this to be perfect. It's just, just getting it down. I do have it pinned in here. Let me remove that pin. So I sewed most of it already. I do want to try to keep the shape as best I can. So I will pull this part in a little bit over here because it's getting a little bit out of shape. And you can control that with the with these stitches. So over here I have to really kind of fix this. So let's see. So I'm going to pull that in, right? And this is, again, is called couching, if you don't know. It's one of my favorite things to do. And see right here where I have two pieces of fabric that are coming together, it's trying to point outward. So we're going to fix that, or we're going to try anyway. So I really do feel you can fix pretty much anything with sewing. I really do. Yeah, I really do. So I'm just going to kind of force it over a little bit. And I have a little bunch going on here, which that's okay. I'll do one more stitch over here. And then we're going to work on the beads and the eyelash trim. Now I'm going to try to sew those both down at the same time. So we will see. In fact, once I got rolling with all of this, I was like, oh, I could have been sewing the beads down as I was doing this couching, but I didn't think of it at the time, so I obviously didn't do that. But yeah, but we can still, I think, sew two things at once. Okay, so that is my wreath. I looked through a whole bunch of different beads, and I found some that I could actually use. I have some smaller ones, but the needle to get through, like the eye of the needle to get through the bead hole, I couldn't, like I have the needle to do that, but the eye of the needle is so small I couldn't get the thread through it. So I abandoned that idea, but this is going to end up going here in my book opposite this here. So this was the first, the deer prompt, and this is obviously the wreath prompt. And for July, the feature prompt, I think they call it, was a tag. And there's my tag. And I am going to use this for my December daily this year. So like here, I can place photos in here. I can write on the back. Here, I can place a photo in the middle of this wreath. So that's kind of what I'm just trying. At least every page, I want to somehow be able to document something come December. So I'm just trying to keep it easy this year. And yep. All right, so now I have this, and I think I'm going to sew it like right to the inside of the wreath. And as I'm doing it, I'm going to be putting some beads around. Like I said, I could have put some beads on the top as I was sewing the couching, but you know, well, like I said, I didn't think of it, but also I don't want this to become too thick, so that when I close my journal, I don't want it to be super chunky, which it probably will anyway, but that's all right. By the time I get done with it in December, yeah. All right, so I'm going to put a bead in here. And let's see, you may not be able to see it a whole lot, but I'll know it's there. And all I'm really doing is, all right, I don't want to pull it too much, is couching again, but around this eyelash trim. So, you know how, like in the middle of eyelash trim, there's, well, almost, I want to say like not the string, but, well, it kind of holds the whole thing together. So that's what I have to move some pins over here. That's what I am sewing this down with. So maybe every other, no, maybe every third. I don't have too many of those beads out here. So, and they're green. They are green beads, but they're like an iridescent. So there's like, you know, depending on how you look at these beads, you can see different colors. So they're interesting. There's something I had in my stash. Yeah, so you're not really seeing the beads very much. They're in there. I'm going to keep doing it. They're there. They're kind of hidden, but that's all right. I know that they're there, and I think that they're pretty, so I'm going to just keep going with it. And then that is literally going to be my wreath prompt. And so we'll be finding out what our next prompt is. Yeah, now that it's August. And I really didn't think I would be able to keep up with 2 prompts per month. But, oops. But what I've done is I'm really making each block a lot more simple than I did with the first journal. So in the first journal, you know, I don't know, I put a lot on my blocks. And this time around, to me, it's almost like the theme of it is the highlight, where with the first Roxy's Journal of Stitchery project, it was almost not 100%, but a good 50% of what you were really trying to create was a certain background. So this is very different in that respect, that the background In both this one here, which is just a green piece of fabric, and the first one that I did, which is a plaid piece of fabric, like I'm just, the background of them, I'm just doing one fabric. That's it. I'm not doing the patchwork, that kind of thing. But that's how I'm able to stay up to date with this. It's almost like something had to give, if you want to say it that way. Yeah, I'm loving this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not, I love it. I think that it's just a different way of doing it this time than the last time. And for me, that was how I found that I could keep up with the 2 prompts per month. So I'm just going to take a look at this, and I just want to make sure, that the eyelash trim is popping out. The beads are almost to where you can't even see them. But like I said, I'm just going to keep going around and putting a bead in every now and again. And I know they're there. The smaller beads that I was hoping to get on there, but I couldn't because of the needle. I couldn't get it threaded. If I had those, I would be sewing those on top of the wreath. But like I said, I mean, these beads are big enough to where I don't want them on the top, because it would just get too bulky, And trust me, I love a good chunky journal. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about the chunky, especially a chunky December daily. I'm all about that. I love it. But I don't know. I'm just not feeling it for this exact one. So, yep, I'm just going with the flow. And the thread that I'm using is a variegated pearl, size 8. And it's this one right here. It's beautiful. It's got greens and blues and like a lot of different shades of greens and blues, really. Yep. So that's the one I'm using to stitch all of this down. And yep, so we're almost done. And hopefully it kind of resembles a wreath in the end, I hope. All right, I need to cut a little bit of this off because it's now getting ready to overlap where I started. So I'm just going to cut a little bit and we're almost done. Oh my. All right, so I think I'll put one more bead. And then we're going to fluff out the eyelash trim. All right, I just want to grab the end of this eyelash trim to make sure I stitch it down. Okay, all right, so let me tie this off. And then we're going to fool around because my round wreath doesn't look really round anymore. It does not. It definitely does not. But that's all right. It'll look round enough. And definitely check out both Sarah and Rachel's YouTube channels. I do have their links below. And they are amazing ladies and teach us so much, and I'm just so thankful to them. All right, that looks really good, actually. That looks really good. All right, so this will end up going here. So these are, let me zoom back out. Oh, other way, Susan. So these, yeah, this is it. This is for July. All right, well, I love both of them. Like I said, I'm going to end up putting a photo in here for my December daily. When I get the other side of this page done, I'll sew both blocks in at the same time. And as far as sewing this onto the cover, so this is my cover, I'm waiting because, well, I still haven't done it. I want to put a poinsettia on the front of some sort. So I didn't sew this in yet because, you know, if I end up putting lace around here, maybe I'll sew the lace with this block in at the same time. You know, I kind of have to feel it out. And this when I cut this green piece of fabric, it was the same size as the white page. And then when I got done stitching it, it had shrunk, you know how it kind of pulls together. So I had to put extra lace on the edge over here. Oh well, what are you gonna do, right? No biggie, no biggie. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next Wednesday. And like I said, be sure to check out Rachel and Sarah's channels and, you know, see what they're doing. They're so talented, and they have a Facebook group, and it's amazing what the women do. It's just, it blows my mind. The talent is incredible. But that's it for today, and I will see you next Wednesday. Have a wonderfully blessed week.